Gentlemen, I'm Carlin Hicks here on board with One Shoe. We are at the Daytona International Speedway for tonight's SCL special exhibition, the Daytona Sportscar Challenge. We're going to take a look at the overall qualifying they just completed for tonight's race in the two classes. Tierney top in the pole. You take a look right there. He is the current points leader in the Camel GT Series. These are the cars for next season in Camel GT, so we'll have to see how that works out here. A little exhibition race tonight to get a feel for them. By class, Tierney leading the LMP class over Barron and Aram. A couple of late times getting in there, rounding it out. And in GTE, it's Enstaza, winner at California earlier. I'm sorry, at Willow Springs earlier this season in Camel GT, who tops that class. And we're going to let them get going here. Tonight's event, got One Shoe here in the booth, and my color commentator running the cameras for you. Give him a shout out, One Shoe.
Hey, Carlin, thanks for inviting me in the booth. I'm really excited this opportunity to see the LMP2s GT3 cars on the track together. I know this is something that, as you mentioned, we've been talking about doing for quite a while, because we haven't had this opportunity in some of the other sims we've worked with.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It has the interface here to make this work. Absolutely. The LMP2s and the GTE cars that will run in Camel GT. Camel GT, of course, the domestic, the North American Sports Car Championship, in essence. Slightly different specs are going to be used over in the International Tour, but we've got a spectacular field here tonight. They're going to get rolling. We're going to give you the overall qualifying. Let's go ahead and head to the front here, where we have Tierney, who took the pole in LMP2. Go ahead and give us a trackside view there, One Shoe. We'll get a look at the guys as they line up. There's One Shoe, or Tierney, leading the field for Benson Speed Equipment, the current Camel GT leader. Baron von Stosch from JME starting in second, coming straight off a second place finish. Aram for Aram Origins for BSE starting in third. He's had a solid season in the sports cars, running part-time. Fourth in LMP2, a good starting position for Anger Management. He had his first top 5 of the season in Camel GT last week. Looks to have a good run here this week. In fifth is Warren Kyle Keith WKK, our main play-by-play guy, making his start here tonight. He is the 5th place starter. Then we go to the GTE cars. Pole sitter in GTE, Enstaza 85, two-time winner in the Camel GT Series, currently third in points. Curious to see what class he'll run next year. He's had a terrific season. He won the California Grand Prix at Willow. We expect a big race out of him here. Starting in 7th, second in the GTE class is It's PT. He's had a terrific season, first-year driver, won an IndyCar race, and think we'll be competitive in these cars here. Right behind him is Sir Race-A-Lot, the UK driver. He was the winner of the very first Formula One Grand Prix in the SCL, the Monaco Grand Prix a few weeks back. Has had some spotty performances in the sports cars, but he is quick, and he'll be starting 8th overall. In 9th, back in the LMP2 cars, a little trouble in qualifying for C-Tuck. C-Tuck, another rookie driver. We have not seen him since week 3. We're now heading into week 8, so he's making a return to the series after a little over a month off. Starting in 10th, back in the GTE cars, will be Liam Daly. He is Sir Race-A-Lot's teammate. I'll have to double check their newly formed team. I need to get their name, but that is Sir Race-A-Lot's teammate. Liam will be making, I believe, he's made 1 point start so far, so we're looking forward to seeing him out there as well. Running in 11th, Price of the Bronx. He's been a solid driver this season. He's back in the GTE car. You can see him there in the Ford. And then starting at shotgun on the field, a little trouble in qualifying for current points leader in Trans Am and IndyCar from JME Motorsports is Cold. Let's go down the list and see if we can get a makes total out for each one of these cars. I neglected to write that down. The LMP2s are all Ligiers, Ligier chassis with either a Honda, Judd, or forget the other engine off the top of my head. But they're all in the Ligier chassis with different motors. We'll go down to the GTE cars, though, and tell you which different cars they took. Starting with, go down to Liam there. I believe that's Liam is in the, he's in the Corvette C7R. Sir Race-A-Lot also, his teammate, in an identical Corvette C7R. And Staza is in a Aston Martin, I believe, is what that is that not?
Yes, sir.
That's an Aston Martin for the Australian driver from Blue Flag Racing. Price of the Bronx in the Ford GT. That is a very solid car. Behind him, it's PT also in the Ford. And Cold, I believe, is going to be running in the... he's also in the Aston Martin. So... got one each of the JME drivers in classes. We've got, go down the list of the qualifiers there. There's a 6 flag limit on tonight's race before they go completely green. We'll get trackside here for the start, as they're going to be going green at the line, I believe. Tiernizzle, your pole sitter. Rookie driver in name only. He has been absolutely fantastic this season, particularly in Camel GT, this class of racing in the Porsche. He's won 5 of 7 events, taken 5 poles. Currently leading yours truly in the points by 5 points through 7 of 10 rounds. He was my preseason pick to win Camel GT. Very fast.
It might be easier to say what he hasn't won this year.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a good point. He's won, he's won a Cup race, won an 3 IndyCar races. He's been very, very good. He's also been championship lucky, if you know what I mean. You can have great seasons, but it's only a championship season when you run well and everything falls into place. Tiernizzle has had that type of thing happen, but he's absolutely earned it getting up there. And they're lining up now. Looks like we're going to be coming to the line, going green for you. 54 minutes still on the clock. The Daytona Sportscar Challenge here. Special exhibition under the lights at Daytona International Speedway. We're heading towards the line. Getting closer. And it looks like we're going to be green. And we are green. If you could put the track map up, One Shoe, that would be great. We could see where the cars are at on the track. As they're heading into the corner here with Tiernizzle. We do not run the bus stop here in the SCL. We're in the old school layout. Tiernizzle holding off Barron, narrowly Aram right behind him. And they are heading tight down into the first hairpin. Ooh, Tiernizzle losing traction a bit there in his number 2. Yeah, a little bit of contact as they're tightly stuck together, but overall looks like a pretty decent start. Baron von Stosch from JME pulls out in front. He was second last week to yours truly at the Sonoma Super Prix in the Camel GT Series. I stress again, this is not a Camel GT points race, guys. A special exhibition here in the off week, but looking pretty good.
GTE cars off and behind the backside of the group. Really struggled getting out onto the
onto the oval, onto the speedway. Looks like Liam Daly was back there. Sir Race-A-Lot's teammate trying to catch control there, but they're starting to space out a little into a running order. Why don't we go on board with Price of the Bronx back in 10th, get a clear look up the field from our chase cam, and we'll see how these cars are spreading out. Top 5 cars all are LMPs. Sir Race-A-Lot, the highest running GTE, about 6 seconds back. Top 5 cars, a second and a half. That is a real good shot here from cameraman One Shoe. As WKK heads into the first turn, takes it real smart. He knows those guys are all the way around him. Gets inside of, I believe that is anger management.
Yeah, that was Tier and Angle. Anger fighting for that spot.
Get a wider shot here on the chase cam. We'll see if we can see the line he's trying to take through here to make the pass. WKK running in 5th, chasing down Anger. Tiernizzle just in front of. There we go. That's a good shot. Very, very tight here among the top 5. Baron von Stosch with 1.7 seconds over Aram out here at the front, but this is the best battle here on the track. We can see these 2nd through 4th place cars right here in your shot. WKK, actually he's the defending Camel GT champion, won it last season on GT6, season 21 Camel GT champion. Warren Kyle Keith looking to move around Anger Management as they go side by side here on the super speedway. There, as I said before, we do not run the bus stop. Ooh, we got a car turned around, and that is going to be a caution. Anger Management drifting up into WKK, who ends up on his roof, and we'll have to reset that car. That is definitely going to be a caution on lap 4 here. We were right on board with that. I'm knowing Anger Management, who is a clean driver, I'm just going to have to say that had to be dirty air sucked him up right into the quarter panel of WKK, but I doubt Warren's happy at the moment. How'd you see it there, One Shoe?
What it looked like, the two of them were so close together, and this just being on the opening laps, you know, who for sure knows what happened. It's definitely up to those two guys, but we've seen weird things happen at Daytona where the cars, they just seem like they've got giant magnets on the side of them when they get that close to each other.
Oh yeah, even those of us veterans from GT6 are used to dealing with it for a really long time, but on this game it's a whole new level of realism with the air. The draft is longer, it's not as dramatic, but when you get close to another car, especially a car with a lot of downforce like these have, pardon me, you end up with a very cars just sucking into each other. Anger Management is a very clean driver. As I said, he's coming off his first top 5 of the season in Camel GT last week at Sonoma. Ran like a champ that whole race. Was the main obstacle to myself taking the lead earlier than I did, and I doubt that was an intentional move at all, but it definitely cost WKK. He falls all the way back into 12th for the defending Camel GT champ, bottom of the LMP class. Our GTE leader, meanwhile, sitting in 5th is En Staza, and he's got 2 GTE cars directly behind him, as I believe the pits are going to open for these guys this time by. That is the first flag of the 6th that they are going to be allowing.
Yeah, it makes you wonder here with only 10 minutes in if we're going to have any takers.
I would think that it's quite possible somebody in the back might want to top off their fuel. I don't think tires are your concern here, depending on what compound you went with. I mean, if you went with the hard compound, there's no doubt you're not going to need tires, but soft compounds, maybe. We do got a couple of takers here, or at least faking to take.
Yeah.
It all depends. I mean, you might be within the window to where you're thinking, get enough yellows, and this is it. I can make it the whole rest of the way.
Yeah, during practice earlier today, it was probably the one thing that I didn't hear any of the guys talking about was fuel. I think everybody was so focused on the difference in the feeling between the two cars, knowing that they were going to have to run both. They'd had the qualifier sprints before the main event here.
Well, absolutely, and that's something, it being an exhibition race, I can guarantee you that as soon as this season's over, we got, the SCL format, 10 weeks, and then about a 5 or 6 week off season. There'll be a lot of tests for the Camel GT cars. Guys will figure out which one they want to run. Guys will have to figure out how their teams are going to be divided up, because it's very much the same qualifying procedure, only it's cut in half. Instead of 10 provisional starters and 6 at-larges, it's 5 and 3 for each class. So if you run too many of your team drivers in one class, you're likely to be bumping each other out of the field. And that's what you want to avoid. I think once the guys decide what car they're running and they get into the off season, they figure that out, hitting testing, you'll see a lot more concentration. Then they'll know what they need to run. This race, like you said, Wanshu, it's a good point. They're just out there trying to figure out how the cars feel. Nobody is in championship form with these cars, but I guarantee you by Daytona Speed Week season 23, not too long down the road, they will be in championship form in these cars.
Yeah, that's been the biggest learning curve for everybody, myself included. It's new hardware, it's the new realism factor that you talked about, and how the cars respond over the long haul. And they are definitely a lot more sensitive to even some of the minor changes. So we got 2 very different aero packages here that definitely make for some very interesting air.
Oh, absolutely, and we'll let them do the restart. I'll make a point that I've made before. We're on board with Cole here, the GTE leader, as we're heading down for what I believe is going to be the restart. These guys are just about ready to go. Baron von Stosch is leading Tiernizzle and Aram back to the field. I believe we're going green. And yes, we are. Green, 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 green. We'll let them see how they take the first turn here. Playing it smart, playing it easy. Yeah, getting the different aero packages down is going to be key, and the new game has a lot of us veterans have had to relearn quite a bit of things, make sure that we could figure out how the cars were going to handle. I think with this class next season, I think the big thing that you're going to see the difference is something that we've seen for a long time. Camel GT, we've gone through a lot of different classes of cars as our North American Sports Car Championship. And the thing that we've noticed is the more of a full-bodied car we used, the more Winston Cup drivers it would attract. And the more of an open sports car style we use, the more IndyCar drivers it would attract. Because just like in real life, our Winston Cup and IndyCar Series, a lot of full-time drivers. Those are the most popular. Sports cars tend to be a lot of part-time drivers, guys who race only certain tracks or whatever, certain cars. And I think that with these 2 classes, it's going to appeal to both demographics. You're going to have Winston Cup drivers, the Tony Mooses of the world, will come and race GTE in a Ford or a Chevy. And the sports car, IndyCar drivers, they will run in more in the LMP2 class. And both of them will award career victories and stats, and both of them will be Camel GT champions at the end of the season. So makes for an interesting thing. As let's get back on board here with anger management. He's running in 4th overall in the LMP class. It looks like they're back down to yellow for the second time tonight. Probably contact in the first corner there. I'll tell you what we'll do on this this next restart here. Wanshu, we'll stay on this chase cam with the very back of the field and see if we can see how they get into the corner. But this has been the modus operandi for these races much of the season. You'll get a couple of cautions early in the race. Guys are on cold tires. The jitters are there. They're getting the brakes warmed up. That's a big thing. I think a lot of people underestimate that you want to pump your brakes a few times on the parade laps, get your brakes warmed up. But once we get going, this race will stay pretty green. It did during the Daytona Continental back in Speed Weeks.
And they start to get a little space between them too, and you get that opportunity to have a little room between you and the guy in front of you, and you get into your rhythm. You start focusing more on hitting your points instead of getting the red mist that gets in front of you, and you're focused so much on trying to pass the guy in front of you, you forget that, hey, you know, that corner, this is where I need to put this much brake and go down this many gears so I can actually make the corner to get back on it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. You know, as Carlin Hicks, the broadcaster, I don't like to use Carlin Hicks, the driver, as an example because I'm not megalomaniacal enough. But when it serves, I'll go ahead and do it. I'm living proof that if you be patient in these races, it pays off. I've had 3 races this season in particular where I started 15th and made the podium, started 14th and made the podium, and just last week started 8th and won the race. And I guarantee you that I pay zero attention to much of the leaderboard early in the race. I'm just thinking, I'm looking at my strategy, and they're green. And it looks like they're green right back on the restart. They did not make a full lap, so they went green right away. Looks like they got it clean through here. But I just ran clean. I let the race come to me. I let it shuffle out, and that's what you got to do here. I think the more patient guys become. Somebody way off the track. I'm not sure if there was contact there. We had a couple off.
A couple cars way off.
And I believe we are going to be backing down for our 3rd yellow here of the race. Looks like it was
one of them.
It's like Stas.
PT, I think, was the other one. Or Price was the other one, I think.
Sir Race-A-Lot also back there. I believe the caution is out. Tiernizzle looks like Tiernizzle looks like he went off under the yellow. Somebody's out of the race. Who is it that we just lost?
I think that was Tier. Yeah, he's dropped off the leaderboard.
Not sure if he has a mechanical issue or what the story is, but let me go ahead and see if I can get him here into the broadcast booth. Hopefully just in time to stifle a blow up. I don't see him online.
The transmission problem.
Yeah, something happened. He went off the track and then not really quite sure. Yeah, no problem. Somebody just said he had to leave. No big deal. I believe they're going to be going green again this time by. They've hit 3 of the 6 flags here, 39 minutes to go. Of course, the championship races are 90 minutes to 2 hours. This is a comparative sprint race. But we've still got 5 cars in the LMP2 class, 6 in the GTE class. Our leader still Baron von Stosch with Aram and Anger Management running a solid 3rd. He's been a driver, Anger Management, that I've just signed up mid-season with Benson Speed Equipment. I've really thought he's coming along very, very well. Like I said, just got his first top 5 last week. He's run fast. He's one of those guys that's learning how to put together a finish. But he's definitely developing into a contender. All right, looks like we're going to be going back to green. Baron leading them back in the LMP2 class, and they're green, green, green. Anger's going to try to get inside of Aram. No, he's going to back it off, play it safe.
No. Cold's giving a little help. Apparently his bumper was sticking out a little too far. And then
Anger takes a bump, saves the car, does a real good job.
Yeah. So Anger's getting all kinds of help from his fellow racers.
He's fallen back to 6th. Here comes WKK up through the field. He's got a couple of GTE cars to try to pass here, which ought to make riding on board with him here very interesting. Let's see what he does to get past them. These cars are, as we said, they're looking to shuffle out here. Once they cycle out, you'll see some fast racing. But Daytona is a different track. I told the guys, be very careful. Be very careful not to judge the whole package based on this place, because this track is unique. The draft is something else. WKK now 2-time winner in the series. As I said, last season's Camel GT champion. Really the architect of the specs here for this series, and he's coming up through these cars. He's going to get a hell of a wake off of the GTE cars because of their larger bodies. The question is, does he have anywhere to take it? I don't know that he does.
So would you kind of equate this maybe to what we see at Le Mans with the kind of runs these cars are able to make, and especially where you've got the multiple classes in this case?
Oh, absolutely, and that's the companion series to Camel GT, the international on the international tour. That is definitely going to be a caution. Big accident right there. I'm not sure who got into who.
Oh my goodness!
But yeah, Stas.
You're on board as Stas gets late to the party.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be our fourth caution of the race here with 36 minutes remaining. Looks like somebody locked up the brakes, tried to overcorrect it coming into the hairpin in turn one, and just got together. The track's changing a little bit. The cloud cover's coming in. That's dropping the track temperature, I'm sure, increasing the grip a little, but changing the grip is really the difficult thing. But yeah, back to what you were saying. Once you go ahead.
Incredibly hard corner to get into. You know, you're already up at max RPM. You're almost against the rev limiter. And now you got to get the car slowed down and turn enough off of the banking to be able to make that left-hander to get to the infield. Incredibly hard turn to get into.
Yeah, and especially with four cars in there. I'm going to go ahead and take a shot here, guys, to look at our view our race comments here. I got it. Let's get a chance to see what the boys are saying here on board. I wonder who Joseph Willows is. I'm sure he's somebody whose name we know, but I'm not quite sure. Why don't you tell us who you are, Joseph? What's your handle so we know who we're talking to? As they are still under yellow there. I believe they're going to be coming around for the sorry, let's take a run down through the field here while we're in trackside. Barron's still out in front. JME Motorsports, Aram running in second. WKK is in third. Then it's our top GTE car. That is the not surprising Sir Race-A-Lot. Let's go ahead and take WKK's pit stop, get on board with him and see, or get trackside with him and see what his stop looks like as he's coming in. Wonder, he is taking tires.
Looks like he only took front tires.
Yeah, just front tires. WKK, I wonder what they're waiting for here.
Fuel.
Yeah, waiting for the fuel. Out he goes, but there comes PT in the GTE class behind him. That's going to cycle, as I said. Barron's going to be up front. Aram's in second. Top GTE car, Sir Race-A-Lot's in third. Cold in fourth. Price of the Bronx fifth. Liam Daly in sixth. And Staza in seventh. Then you've got the third place car in LMP. Third, fourth, and fifth in LMP are running 8, 9, and 10. That's Anger Management, C-Tuck, who we're glad to see back, and WKK. It's PT rounding out the field. As I said, we're really impressed with the drivers that have come in this season. I mean, there's a lot of rookies, a lot of guys who are not used to running as serious and as well run of a league as SCL. With all the detail and that we have with the career stats and the various series and the various disciplines. And there's been a lot of guys who I know from my own experience, if you come in and you're not tearing it up right away, you give it time. I didn't win my first race till my third season, and it took time to develop. And there are guys that fall in. There's some guys that are quick out of the box. That's the Tier Nizzles, the Sir Race-A-Lots of the world. And there's some that are really developing into going to develop into something. As we'll take a look at our.
He was down a little bit, but we've already seen him come back and win just like I knew he could.
Oh, absolutely. Twindy and myself are very similar in our development, and since he used to be a driver on my team and I helped him develop, I take pride when Twindy does well. You know, what he did in IndyCar last season, winning that championship, was phenomenal. 5 out of 8 races won. We chased him all season, and he'll get back to the top of the heap. I have no doubt about that. They're getting ready to come down for the start. Christian Kohler there had a question for us. How do I join? I'm going to give you a look up SCL Racing Network. There should be links in the YouTube. Should be links there in the YouTube that'll get you. Look up SCL Racing Network in the PSN communities and the website. There's a link from the YouTube. It is sundaycupleague.wix.com/SCRN. That has all the detail and info you need for SCL, which we're in our 22nd season. The league is 7 years old. 2010 was when we were established, and it's our first season over here on PS4 as we've got to restart. Somebody went off. Looks like they're on their own. I'm not sure if he was bumped and if there's going to be a flag. Looks like Stas is off.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We didn't.
I did not see contact.
We saw him off.
And they're staying under speed, it appears. So it looks like we're still green. I thought he just locked up his brakes. That's been Stas' story. Incredible fast. As I said, he's 3rd in Camel GT points. He's a 2-time winner in the series. Stas is one of those guys, though, that he's either running a fantastic race and is practically unbeatable, or he's beaten himself. And when he can get over that, there's no doubt in my mind that Stas is a championship driver. We got contact here between 2 cars. It's PT making contact there with, I believe that's Price of the Bronx. Pair of
those 2 Fords were. It was like they were just coming out of the factory.
As they're coming down the backstretch here, Liam Daly getting low, trying to get clean air, I think, is what he's doing there. Trying to make sure he doesn't get pulled up. But yeah, Christian, if you just check out the PSN community, look up SCL Racing Network. We have a lot of contact there behind. I'm not sure if that's going to be a flag. Anger management, he's having some trouble when he gets right near another car. You can see the dirty air really affecting him. Yeah. Right there, as he overshoots, he right there. What happened to him? That's a classic rookie mistake. He's coming into the corner. He's not accounting for the loss of front downforce that big car is giving him as he's braking. So when the car the front end starts to snap wide, it really troubles him. Here's WKK running in 7th overall. He's just trying to get back up. He's now close to 7 seconds behind the leader in overall and in his class. So he's trying to get by there.
Courtesy flash of the lights, Sir Race-A-Lot moves over and lets the LMP by.
Yeah, very good drive. Sir Race-A-Lot's another star in the making. As I said, he won the very first Formula One race, the Monaco Grand Prix, in the wet. I believe he's going to be one of the cornerstone stars of the international tour when it gets kicked off in full next season.
He's kind of like Shane O'Kano. He's very smooth. You don't see him making a lot of bonehead type moves, and that gets himself in trouble.
All right, looks like we have Ed Staza out of the race. Looks like a blown motor, or he just parked it for the Aussie driver. So we're down to 10 now. 5 in each class, I believe. Yeah, Sir Race-A-Lot's very quick. Like I said, he's already won in Formula One. I believe he will have a very good SCL career. He, however,
this isn't going to turn out well.
No, there's a little bumping and grinding there between anger management and I believe that was Liam Daly. Anger comes through. Some of these LMP2 cars not showing as much patience as you would expect, including WKK. That has a lot to do with the fact that he's been wrecked to the back, I'm sure. Getting a little hot under the collar and wanting to get by because he's already now 8 seconds behind Barron with 27 minutes remaining. I can understand the nice. There's Cole making a nice save.
Pushed wide. Yeah. But kept the car straight.
And that is the battle for the lead in GTE right there. Let's hang out on that for a minute as Cole's trying to track down Liam Daly. Liam Daly from Sir Race-A-Lot's team. I got to look up the name of it. But they're going to be a cornerstone team on the international tour, as we've got Sir Race-A-Lot here coming up on Cold as well. So big battle here in the GTE class. For those of you new,
this Corvette and this Aston Martin actually draft well enough to get back up there to Cold.
If he stays square with him, he's probably going to have the ability to gain, and he does, and he's going to go inside of Cold here. Cold's going to play it smart, though, and hold his line. He's actually faster there on the outside, and let's see if he catches the wall just a little bit. That's going to give Sir Race-A-Lot the edge. Let's see if the teammates here can hook up and move forward. They're going to have to go into the hard braking zone here, though. Sir Race-A-Lot with a good move there. That's what I was saying about him. Very good driver. He is a clean driver. He suffers a little bit from public room-itis. He'll make a move sometimes that's a little bit too aggressive. That'll shake that off the longer he runs in SCL, but he's a definite talent. And I was going to say for Christian and any of the other guys watching, the new guys, like I said, check out the website. There should be a link there on the YouTube, sundaycupleague.wix.com/SCRN. We have a ton of series. North American Tour, we run Winston Cup Racing in the NASCARs on Sunday, Camel GT Saturdays. Fridays is IndyCar, Thursdays is the late model stock cars, Trans Ams, all those cars. We have a ton of exhibitions. We also have the International Tour, where there'll be Formula One on Sunday, International Le Mans Series on Saturday. So we'd love to have you on board. One of the biggest leagues out there, most competitive you'll find. We run all spec cars. As we're back with it here, as he is drafted with his teammate. Now this is something where the American drivers and the North American Tour drivers are a distinct advantage, because we're way more experienced at doing this kind of thing together than the two UK drivers here coming over to race in a North American Tour race, because it's we're used to drafting like that. Like you saw right there, he got a little too close to him. It got Liam unstable and slowed the both of them up. Looks like Liam's going to loop it. He loops it in the corner, gets a little too wide, and I guarantee you he got into the marbles. The live track here on this game is terrific. There was he got into the marbles as we're now more than halfway through the race. Sun's gone down completely. It's a dark track. He got into the marbles out there too wide, tried to keep steering through it, and couldn't do it. That was just good racing by Cold, holding his line, letting the guy make a mistake. But these two are still stuck together, racing for the lead in GTE. Let's take a look at the front now, get some trackside cam for him there. One shoe, as Barron still out in front. He's got about a 3-second lead on Aram. Barron, the winner of the World 600 in the Winston Cup Series earlier this season. Take a quick look at our go ahead and give some time for you guys comments to be on board here as we're going wide.
These cars, they burnt some fuel off. They burnt some of their tires up, and now they need to kind of compensate for it. They don't have all that rubber. They don't have a lot of things that they did at the start of the race, and as the cars change, and definitely need to adapt to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the thing about the racing in the sports cars, and this is the only reason that I have the track record that I do in Camel GT, because I'm certainly not as fast as some of these front runners, is that in these kind of cars, if you don't overdo it early in the race and early in your runs, these cars will just keep getting faster as the fuel burns off. As long as you have the right tire compound and the right tire pressure on it, then you can just keep getting quicker. But you have to give something up to do that. You're not going to be the fastest car the first 5 or 6 laps out of the pits, out of the box. And that's really the key to that's what endurance racing is, and that's what, you know, the Camel GT Series has been built on. You're gonna, you know, this is not a 10-lap sprint in a public room with a bunch of numbskulls. You know, you have to be on your game to do well, and one of the key ways to do it is, doesn't matter how fast. Like we used to say all the time. Let's say I'm a half a second slower than you out here, One Shoe. I'm a half a second slower out here every lap, but I never go off the track in the race. You go off twice. And it's
you're giving away all my giving away all my secrets now.
Yeah. Now let's say it's let's say we're running 50 laps and you go off twice. Well, the average off here is 10 to 15 seconds. You can reasonably expect to lose about 25 seconds if you go off twice. So that means that over a 50-lap race, if you go off twice and I don't go off at all, and you're a half a second quicker than me every lap, we're going to be dead even at the finish. And let's face it, when you've gone off, you're going to make more mistakes trying to catch up with dirt on your tires and all that. So that's really where we, you know, that's why it's so important to treat it like an endurance race, because that's what it is. You know, that's what Cole does so well here. That's why he's been the rookie star here, for along with Barron, for Team JME, is that, you know, he's smart right here. He knows that there's 21 minutes left. He knows the speedway's there. You can see him here with Sir Race-A-Lot. He's just holding his line. You know, if Sir Race-A-Lot gets inside of him, he's going to let him have it. He's going to catch him back up on the speed. He's just playing it smart. He doesn't want to overcook his tires. He's just making them earn it, and that's the smart way to do it. I don't want to cut away at the wrong time, but I'm going to leave the chat here for the moment. Leave the turn the chat. Oh, absolutely. But yeah, Christian, we have 2 series on Saturdays. Check the website. You can see the full schedule. Big week coming up. Watkins Glen, rounds 8 of 10, and Trans Am, IndyCar, Camel GT, Formula 1 series running, Winston Cup Series running.
Yeah, it's one of those rare weeks where all of the races, all the series are at the same track.
Yeah, they're usually a theme. You know, the North American Tour races, a lot of them are at the same place. But yeah, this is one week where they're all at Watkins Glen, including the International Tour with Formula 1. And it's going to be a show. I mean, I think it's going to be a great race in all the series. It's going to be real tough in the Cup cars, I can tell you that. But we've got real close championships across the board. Anybody who pulls up the website as I'm talking can reference what I'm talking about. I mean, in the IndyCar Series, it's 16 points separating your car you're looking at now, Cold, from myself. Trans Am is separated by about 3 or 4 cars by like 7 points, and there's only a 5-point difference in the top 2 in the Camel GT Series. So, I mean, every championship is coming down to the wire. Those of us who've been around for a while, myself since season 12, One Shoe since about season 16, you know, we'll see. I mean, we're getting to the home stretch now. So Race-A-Lot gets around them.
Watkins Glen's going to be fun. We've tested the NASCARs there. The boss has had the Indy cars there. I know that Rita's been there with the Cup cars already. So it's very interesting, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like we got about a 1-second lead. Let's see where we can cycle through on the trackside cam. Take a look back at Bear and give the leader some time. He's opened up a 5.6-second lead over Aram Origins here, as Barron just running smooth. He was second last week at Sonoma, the only other car besides myself on the lead lap. And Barron's a rookie driver here with JME. As I said, he won the World 600 in the Winston Cup cars at Texas Motor Speedway, and Barron's a real talent. I don't know whether he's going to be starting another team next season or what he's going to be doing, but we've been glad to have him because he's been a terrific racer, and as you can see, he's just he's smooth and consistent. He's just running very, he's not over pushing the car in the corner. He knows he's got a sizable lead. He knows that a caution could come out at any time and erase it, so you just want to make sure you have tires if that eventuality happens, because you're definitely not pitting from here. If you have to pit from here, you're just about finished.
Yeah, promoter might say he's out there stinking up the show, but when you're you're clean and smooth, and you're taking care of your equipment, that's how you wind up in the position you're in.
That's the same thing last week at Sonoma with myself. I was as shocked as anybody that race went that way, but it really was just a matter of I was hitting my marks, and when you hit your marks, you're not as fast initially, but you're faster over the long haul, and that's what Barron's doing. I'd like to think our team influence has helped him with that, but he's been a very good driver. And as we head back to Aram running in second, Aram's had himself a very solid season. He's got 2 wins in Trans Am and a win in IndyCar. 2 Trans Am wins. He won the US 400 here on the Super Speedway in IndyCar. Aram's been a very solid driver. He's going to be running his own team next season. Very talented driver. I think that Aram's going to have a long and very successful career here. His first season's been punctuated, though, with a loss of concentration has been his biggest weakness. When he has trouble in a race, it tends to go downhill from there. But he's quick, and he can race head-to-head. That's the biggest thing with Aram that a lot of rookie drivers can't do. He can race you as he goes off the track and see if he can catch it.
Yeah, you're just so...
Yeah, but Aram has he has the tools. That's what I'm saying. I'm giving you a critical assessment based on my experience and as a broadcaster. Aram has the tools to be a star in this league. He's quick. He can race very well around you. The only downside has been he has ruffled a few feathers, getting into a few too many incidents at times, and he tends to make mistakes down the stretch like that. But I think that I think he's a driver that will iron out those things, and in 2 or 3 seasons he'll be, he may be dominant in a series. He reminds me a bit of Twindy.
It'd be interesting to know in that instance what happened in that area. Did he miss a shift? Did he miss his brake point? What caused that little off that he had there? Or was, reaching for some refreshment or something. After all, this is a 60-minute race. You gotta stay hydrated also.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As he's still holding on to second now. He's WKK's coming in on him. Let's see what we've got battle-wise there. As Warren has worked his way all the way up from there's 10 cars still running. There were 13 at one point, and he was 13th on the track and moved all the way up to 3rd place now. As we said, Warren, 2 wins last season in Camel GT, won the Camel GT Series championship. Very quick driver. He's, of course, on the board of officials. Warren knows his stuff. He's a guy who will understands particularly this kind of racing. You guys know him from being the primary play-by-play guy on the broadcast. I wouldn't put him out of it here. He's trying to run down Aram to get into second as they going on board with him inside the Ligier Ford, I believe. And he's going to try to run down Aram. But WKK, especially with the class settings, he will be an absolute contender. I'm not sure if he's going to be in the broadcast booth or running Camel GT, or if he's going to be overrunning in Europe in the International Le Mans Series, but wherever he is, he's going to be a Sportscar contender. And got Anger coming up right behind him. The only car, he's 4th in class, 4th overall. As I said, Anger, a guy who's been moving up steadily. He was excellent last week at Sonoma. It took me 12 laps to get around him, and I was clearly faster. And that makes me feel like I ran into myself on the track at Suzuka, because he was just excellent. I couldn't get off the corner. Every time I pressured him, he was at nerves of steel. And then when we got down to towards the finish of the race, it was, or when we finally got by him, was only because he finally caught the grass a little and lost momentum, and I was able to get by him. He was really solid. The GTE battle.
It's one thing to have somebody that you're catching 1/10 of a second a lap. It's another thing that it's a 0, and then when you get to him, how the heck do you get around him?
Well, that's the key to slow in, fast out racing. If you're quick off the corner, they can never pass you. That was my key at those of us veterans who used to run Suzuka East on GT6 will remember racing against me and having me there. You'd see the finish, and it would be me in third or fourth with like 6 cars backed up behind me. It was just I knew how to drive that track so that it was hard to pass me. You could catch me, but if I didn't mess up or you didn't pump me off, you could spend 30 laps running behind me. That's the key. This is not one of those tracks here, but that's the key, really. Anger did a great job with that. I really believe that that's a guy who we'll see in victory lane at some point. But looks like the closest battle on the track there is second and third in GTE. That's 7th overall. It's PT trying to chase down Cold, with Sir Race-A-Lot opening it up a little bit in the GTE class. He's got about an 8-second lead, as we got a few cars down there near the back. We'll give them some airtime here shortly, but this is the closest battle here on the track. They're getting awfully close also. There he goes.
The rev limiter going into 1. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Let's see if... Now, PT's a driver who's done some probation time this season. Let's see if he can make this pass clean and get up into second place.
Without using the chrome horn.
Yeah, exactly, without bumping them. Which is by no means over. Sir Race-A-Lot has been known to have late trouble in races. So we'll see. This is the battle for 6th overall, second in the GTE class. PT to the inside, and I believe he got him. Now that might be Cold, went a little wide. I'm not sure if he's having trouble with the tires, but he's going to try to set him up. There he goes, and that was what he was looking for. PT goes wide. He overcooks it going into the corner. I have to believe that Cold set him up for that a little bit. But PT's going to get back on, and he's going to lose quite a bit of time. Let's go back up to third and second there as WKK has closed in on Aram. We'll get onto the trackside cam, see if we can see the battle between these two. They are a good distance behind Barron still, who's running out in front, but WKK closing in on him. Less than a second between them now as we are down inside of 10 minutes. Track change has to be playing in effect. It's an autumn race. It's still Florida, but that means it's not. That means it's mild, not blistering hot at this time of the night. That'll cool the track off. It means that if you're on a soft tire compound, you'll probably get up to optimum tire temperature or close to it. If you're on the hard tire compound and the track temperature drops, that's not as good of a situation for you. So that's definitely something that is a factor. And here comes WKK. He's going to try to set him up, and they're going to go side by side into Speedway 3.
High, wide, and handsome.
Going to pick up a little bit more draft. They're coming up on it looks like a lap car, I believe. C-Tuck in the pits for the LMP2 class as well. I believe he's probably just topping off his fuel. WKK goes in deep and wide. Now you're allowed to use that runoff if you can, but I think there's just too much. I don't know, Winston, you practiced here this week in these cars. It's too much dirt out there really to use it.
You know, anytime you get off of the known line, the tires and the car gets very unhappy. You keep the car where it wants to be, which is on, you keep the rubber on the rubber. You stay off of where the marbles are and the little rubber chunks are, and the car will do the things that you want it to do. Certainly, whether you get the front tires off, you get the rear tires off, the car loses grip immediately, and then you're looking the wrong way down the track, and you're smacking yourself in the forehead trying to figure out why that happened.
All right, they're going to go to the outside. Oh yeah, they're going to the outside here on I believe that's Liam Daly running in 9th, and 5th in his class. And they're going to be side by side. This is exactly what the Daytona Continental was like. That Tiernissel won, Rita was second, I was third. It was myself and PT actually that were side by side a good portion of the race. And if WKK here is smart, he's going to be you're looking to force an error by the other driver, because you know that even if you pass him, it's like a oval race. You know, you got to do it on the last lap. So he's just going to try to pressure him as Liam loops it around there in turn one by himself. It'll stay green. He's got a lot of promise though, Liam. I have to give him credit. He's picked up here by Sir Race-A-Lot. He's starting up a new team. He'll probably be running primarily on the international tour, but I've seen him run some fast laps out there as these two continue to...
Horn goes wide off of that corner. Gave up a little bit to Aram.
All right, let's get a look back in 7th place. It's PT and Cole are battling for 2nd in GTE again, and they are about the same distance behind class leader Sir Race-A-Lot here. It says they were closer than that. I guess he just had a little bit of trouble. No, looks like the field's shuffling us around. We go back up. Oh, there's the gap there. You go back up to that battle with WKK, since these two are farther apart than we anticipated. They're coming down. 6 minutes to go. At 5 minutes, we'll get the no more cautions, green to the finish. Let's see how he sets them up here as they go side by side.
Again, goes back to that high line. Aram a little buffeting down on the bottom side.
Ooh, makes a little bit of contact.
You know, Daytona's not a smooth track to begin with, and then you add the dreaded arrow push.
Aram in the pits. Aram in the pits. He must have been low on fuel or something.
And then he runs past his pit box. Has to back up.
Yeah, he ran out. He ran out. I guess he was hoping for a caution, but then right here at the 5 minute mark, just decided might as well come in and make the splash. That's a tough break for him. It moves WKK up to second, anger management into third, and shuffles these guys back. It looks like it's PT and Cole's going to be the closest battle on the track as we head to 5 minutes to go and green to the finish. Go on the track side, Cam, and we can cycle through the drivers a little bit here. Looks like Aram might be catching anger, if that number is correct, after he had to come in and make a splash and go pit stop. As we said, good to see C-Tuck back. He's running back in 10th out of the initial 13 starters. C-Tuck ran earlier in the season. The first time we've seen him in a little over a month. We're glad to have him back on board. Very good driver. Don't underestimate this guy once he gets used to the car. He's run well in Trans Am. He's run well in stock cars. He's run well in sports cars. Barron in the pit. 4 minutes to go. We got Baron von Stosch hitting the pits. These guys are running out of fuel here at the end. I believe he had it set up though. Yeah, he's in and out though. He's in and out. He knows his JME strategy, which is to have a splash and go ready on the command. Anger management needs to make a splash.
Coming in.
Love these strategy races. I just love running these, seeing how it's going to be all who can make the quick pit stop. Is he just taking the fuel? If he puts tires on,
I would fire his crew chief if he put tires on with only 3 minutes left in the race. And
looks like they didn't.
Way too much fuel.
Yeah, it took too much fuel right there. That cycles WKK up to the front. Barron's about 3 seconds behind him. I wonder if the GTE cars are going to have to pit. I believe Sir Race-A-Lot was just in the pit. Might as well get in the chase cam here so we can cycle through the guys and see where they're at, because I see the times here need to shuffle around, which is 3 minutes to go. WKK's taking the lead. The question is, does he have enough fuel? He made the stop, though, if you remember, with about 49 minutes to go.
Earlier.
That's right, he made it.
We questioned that, right.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to have enough. That splash might be enough to get him. It definitely worked for me in a couple of races this season as Aram Moves by anger management as looks like they're battling for no, anger management's back farther. Okay, anger made the stop.
The GTE cars.
Gotcha. So it's cycling around here.
There we go. Liam in the draft.
I'm going to try to help air him out here. He's definitely helping air him out here just by taking the wind off his rear wing. He's making him quicker. Whether or not that's going to have him enough time. 2 minutes to go. The question is who hasn't pit yet. WKK pit, Barron pit, Aaron pit. They've all pit. The GTE cars, the question is who of them is going to pit. Because I think WKK, if he can hold out here, he's going to be sitting pretty, coming all the way from the back and strategizing his way to the front. A win after my own heart.
Starting shotgun on the field.
Yep, came all the way through with strategy.
Had a hard time getting to the track on time. Missed a portion of the drivers' meeting.
All right, let's see what we got here. My timing there is a little messed up. It's PT. Is that cold on the outside of him?
Looks like cold, yes.
They are racing side by side for 6th place and 2nd in class. The timers are a little off. Let's get on the chase cam behind PT here, as it looks like he's hanging on up front, WKK. But it's PT's going to try to pass the Aston Martin of Cold as they're racing for 6th overall, 2nd in class. They're about 5 seconds behind. That you see right out in front of them there, I believe, is out in the distance is Sir Race-A-Lot. Just 48 seconds to go. We could be on the final lap. Barron's about 2.5 seconds back up front there from WKK.
Oh, easy go. Oh. Managed to stay off of each other. Cole got a little wide in the corner, looked like he had the front brakes locked up. It's PT managed to stay off of him.
Not sure they're going to make it back to the line here, so this might be the race for them. It's 2.3 seconds up front. Let's get on board with WKK here as the clock runs out. Where he's at on the track.
He's just getting on to...
That's going to be it. He's going to be coming to the line. Let's get track side and let... as WKK starts shotgun on the field, comes all the way through, and it looks like he is going to win the Daytona Sports Car Challenge exhibition here in the LMP2 class. He's 2.2 seconds. You see Barron in the picture behind him. A great run by Barron, but he had to make that splash and go. And that's going to cost, and WKK is going to cycle through up front. Might as well get back on board with Cole once he hits the line here. As he's coming down the front stretch, there's your winner.
Worst to first. Gotta love it.
Great job, Warren Kyle Keith flashing the lights as he takes the victory. We'll get on board with It's PT. Cold's falling back about 5 seconds from him, I believe. He's got somebody right behind him. There we go. Sir Race-A-Lot not far in front. Cold trying to, one last shot here. There's C-Tuck is a lap down car in the LMP2 class, but Cold's going to have one last shot here at It's PT. And that was the big trouble spot right there for PT, and I think that since he came through there clean, that might be it. Cold, I think, is having a tire issue, it looks like to me. He's pushing up on that front.
He can get a little help from C-Tuck here. Might be able to push him around. I don't think he's...
Oh, he is getting a push. And C-Tuck's playing it safe. He doesn't want to pass the cars that are laps ahead of him. That's going to give Cold a shot here down the front stretch. As they're coming to the line, this is for 6th overall, 2nd in the...
Watch out, Pie goes down low.
He's definitely losing the air on that car. Does a great job of saving it, not wrecking the both of them. And that's going to be the best race on the track. But there are going to be your final results here tonight in the overall. WKK cuts the pit stop, ends up taking the overall win, and second was Baron von Stosch. Third on the podium, Aram Origins. Now for fourth was Anger Management. And we're going to go by class here real quick in the LMP2 class. WKK taking the victory overall, Baron and Aaron behind him. In our GTE class, Sir Race-A-Lot doing a terrific job. He runs the fastest lap of the race for these cars. Takes the win by about 7 seconds there over its PT, who was second in class, sixth overall. Cold comes in third, seventh overall. Price of the Bronx and Liam Daly rounding out that group. We're going to take a quick chance here to take a quick opportunity to look at your comments to our drivers before I head back into the room.
Man, what an amazing race! You know, taking these two cars that run relatively close lap times, you get this wide range of drivers. You throw them out here, and incredible passing. We saw a lot of
Oh yeah, absolutely. The cars ran close together on the track. Even the even the separate classes ran really close together on the track. Let me get a couple. I'm trying to get names in here for the post game, for the post race, if I can find them on the list here. But yeah, I think it was definitely a winner. I mean, these guys were quick. The cars were very close together. They did a really good job of handling the cars, despite the fact that it was the first time that they'd seen them, really in competition. And got to say that I'm really satisfied with that. It was a relatively clean race. There were 4 cautions. That's relatively normal. There are guys that are going to be unhappy. But WKK just strategized. He knew he's been broadcasting these races. He's seen what I've pulled off and what some other guys have pulled off, and I think that exactly what he did was he knew that was going to be close if there was enough cautions at that point, and so he dove into the pits. He was back in the field anyway, and I think he did a spectacular job. We've got some guys. Remember, our new guys here in the booth joining us for the post race. Make sure you crank your mics all the way up, guys, and then just mute them before I'm talking to you. Any of you watching on the broadcast, you got the comments up. If you have a question, go ahead and shoot it to us. We'll try to handle it for you. But I'm going to get to our overall race winner first. Warren Kyle Keith, we got you in here?
Yeah, you do.
All right, Warren Kyle Keith, the winner of the Daytona Sportscar Challenge in the LMP2 class. We saw you did almost the exact same thing I've done in about 3 races this season, 2 of which you broadcasted. So as soon as you did it, I thought he knows, he's been paying attention. You pitted, you needed those yellows, I think, maybe to get you there. We're not showing the amount of fuel and stuff guys have anymore on the broadcast, so I'm not even looking at that. But we knew you had to be close. And when everybody started diving in, and you had to come from the back, you want to tell us a little bit about how that went for you?
Well, I had about 20 liters left in the tank, so I was pretty well set home. I pitted at the first caution. I was in the back. I was like, all right, well, let's just come on in and see what we can do here. Second caution came out, and it was about, it stayed out. Third caution stayed out. Fourth caution was around 35 minutes, and I was like, yeah, we're coming in. So we came in. We topped it off. The Nissan Ligier was actually good tonight. Had to break the brake balance a little bit to the back to help her rotate late in the run, but she was fine. We had about 20 liters left. Tires were good. When I saw Baron hit the pits, man, let me tell you, I was like, oh, here we go. It's literally the Camel GT race from a year ago, except you weren't in this one, Carlin.
Oh, so, I remember that one very well. I remember that one very well.
It's exactly the same thing that happened. I was in the back. I pitted early and raced near the front at the end. But good drive by the Ligier Nissan. Said Keith Motorsports going to be running 2 of them next season. So hopefully we can add a driver and put another 1-2 on the board.
Yeah, that was an interesting.
Hey, Warren, just kind of curious about something. Over the entire race, would you say that the tires were the challenge, or were you more concerned about your fuel?
You know, the tires weren't that bad. You know, you could push for a long period of time. You had to put your braking point back a little bit during the run because of the brakes. Even if there's no damage on, the brakes still wear out. So you had to bounce back the braking. But other than that, tires were good. Fuel was a little bit of an issue in the LMPs. The GTs weren't going to make a pit stop. I knew that, so that's why I pitted a little early.
Yeah, worked out well. Congratulations.
Oh yeah, that was a great job. I really thought that one of the things that you would see out there, I thought the cars ran really close together on the track, even the different classes. The guys went for being an exhibition race, new car, guys not really being used to them. I thought they ran really well. The cautions early in the race were just brake lockups and stuff like that. You know, I didn't see dive bombing, and I saw a few guys get into the back of people because their brakes locked up. But overall, it was a pretty clean race, I thought.
Yeah, it was actually quite good. You know, we went up and over, did a little Dale Senior today. We patched the car up and brought her back out and won the race. So
yeah, that reminds me.
Happy about that.
Yeah, that reminds me. The question I was going to ask you about is Sega Keith Motorsports. Are you guys running Camel GT next season?
Yeah, we're running Camel GT, and we'll put an IndyCar out there too. We're going to do 2 LMPs and 1 GTE for, you know, if someone wants to come in one race and another person the other. It's an open car, so we'll do that.
Awesome. Well, let's get to our other class winner in the GTE class. If we got Mike there on Sir Race-A-Lot, he takes the top honors in the GTE. Tough race out there. How was it for you back there in those cars, Sir Race-A-Lot?
Hey, Race-A-Lot, sorry to interrupt, but your microphone is really, really quiet on the broadcast.
Yeah, you're going to want to crank it, sir.
Sounds better.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what we saw coming up behind you. The story that was going on once you got that little gap. Cold, Liam, it's PT. They were all on top of each other, and as anybody knows, if you know when you're in that big group, if you can get away from, you know, if you can get away, then that's to your advantage. They were slowing each other up, and like you said, you ran consistent enough to just pull it away. Once you got something for
Race-A-Lot, I was just kind of curious. There were a lot of instances, especially on the banking, where we saw what we thought was a lot of dirty air, and the cars were moving around and trying to stick together. Is that what you were kind of feeling in those instances?
they're telling me. So I'm sorry, Sir Racelaw. They're telling me that your settings, you don't have it allowed for broadcast, and they're saying it's not coming through. So double check your settings there in the party. Make sure you're allowed. Your voice is allowed through the broadcast. I don't know if that's so, but no, it's not the volume. You have to check the actual settings and make sure that your voice is allowed. That you're allowing your voice to be used on the broadcast. We'll give you
settings and then go to allow your voice to be shared and say always allowed.
Yeah, we'll give you a minute to do that. But yeah, I thought it was a good race. Let's see who else. Let me get out of the into the other screen. Let's get a word here from Barron. Barron was well out in front in this race for a good portion of it. Stayed out front, restarted in the lead, took off, had to make the splash at the end there. Made a real quick stop. I had said on the broadcast that it appeared you had your splash and go ready to go. But with WKK not making that extra stop, I think it killed you. But other than that, how was that race today? Finishing runner-up, Barron?
Well, as per usual, it's kind of upsetting that it's another second place finish for me. But JME gave me a pretty nice car today. Dominant all day, as you guys saw. But yes, I had it set up where I had only 10 liters of fuel go in on my pit stop because I noticed that I wasn't going to finish the race with the fuel I had. So I went in, made a quick, like 5-second pit stop, but he already passed me by the time I was pulling out. But I thought if I can get out of the pit exit quick enough, I'd still be there at the end. But unfortunately, I tagged the wall just ever so slightly on the pit exit. And that set me back probably 0.3 of a second and never caught him from there.
Yeah, I thought that, like I said, you made a real quick splash stop. I thought you handled it as good as you could, and I thought you did the right thing in that situation because if I was in your position, I would have been gambling that if there's another yellow, I can splash, another yellow or two, and I might make it, And I think you did the right thing. It's a situation where if you're in a points race, I think you really made the right decision because if you're doing your homework in the race, you know that WKK was the only guy who might not have to pit. So if you're racing to say, at least I know that if I have to make a stop late, I'm going to finish second and have a good points day at least. So I think you did the right thing, but you really did. You ran out in front, and you were really smooth, and that's what we were saying on the broadcast. And it's another runner-up position, but believe me, the breakthroughs will come.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. I had a super strong car. Throughout the laps after I got out of the pits, I was consistently catching Warren. It's just I didn't have enough speed or time to actually get up to him. I was catching him about, I'd say, maybe 2 to 3/10 a lap. Scratch that. I think it was 4 seconds behind him, so I was catching him about maybe 7/10 a lap. It's just it wasn't enough to get me to maybe 2 more laps and I would have caught him.
Yeah, that's the what ifs of racing. That's how it works out. I've won plenty. As I said, when WKK crossed the line, I went after my own heart because, he had it paced out right, and when it's always a crapshoot because even when you pick a strategy, you got to hope that it works out. But it definitely worked out. They did it worked out for him, and you ran a really good race. Aram was up there as well. We'll get a word from him before we wrap it up. How'd your day go there, Aram?
At first the car was real strong, I was able to stay with the guys, but I'd say about 20 minutes into it, I think around there, my car started pushing like a dump truck. It just would not turn. I don't know, I tried decreasing my brake bias, I did everything. My car wouldn't turn, so I was able to hang with Barron, and then I made one mistake, on one turn, and then he just got away and I couldn't catch his draft anymore, so I couldn't hang with him because he just, he'd get me through the infield and stuff. And then, I saw WKK come in, and, I knew he was going to catch me at one point, so, we raced for a little bit, he was about to pass me again, so, you know, I said, to hell with wrecking, I'm just going to go in the pits. So I overshot my pit box a little bit, you know, maybe front wheels. I came in, I put 10 liters in, and as I crossed the line for the last time, I had 0.1 liters of fuel left. No exaggeration.
Oh yeah, I've been there, man.
That's the way to do it.
I've been there. I ran out of fuel at the line at Laguna Seca, so I know that routine. You were really well up there, and it was probably the smart move. If you know you got to stop, you might as well stop and get a, you know, when the guy's on top of you and get a clear track. I thought that you know, you, like I said, you were definitely a contender. My comment on that is if your tires are, you know, we're running spec, but you know what you do with your tires and all that, how you ran your brakes early in the race, I would have to think that a test session, checking your tire temperatures over the course of the run, you know, leaving that screen up and running and seeing where your tires are, that would be the biggest reason I would think that the car would start pushing. It probably means you were overheating the front. Yeah, you would love.
I was just wearing it once.
Yeah, I'm just. Yeah, it was probably overheated tires a little bit, but hey, brand new car. You came out here, you ran, you know, a solid race and got a chance to see what the car can do. I'm getting a note here from our producers before we go off the air. Now that Sir Race-A-Lot is up and running, we can get an interview people can actually hear. So let's give it a shot. Sir Race-A-Lot, winner in the GTE class tonight. Why don't you give us a rundown on your night?
Still nothing.
Still nothing?
Still nothing.
Yeah, no worries. We got to start getting ready to wrap it up anyway, sir. That'll just give you, when you get a chance some other time, you can mess with your settings, and we'll get you in one of these rooms and test it with you and make sure we got you up and running. But overall, like I said, great race, guys. Let me one last look in here. Okay, I think we had Daytona's Daytona, but I think we had a successful debut with these cars. As we said, guys, next week, especially those of you watching new drivers, we'll be heading for week 8 of SCL season 22 at Watkins Glen. We've got a week from next Sunday, we've got the Bud at the Glen Winston Cup race. Saturday night is the New York Continental for the Camel GTs. IndyCar's got the Watkins Glen Indy Grand Prix on Friday. Trans Am will be on the track on Thursday. We got Formula One there, the U.S. Grand Prix on Sunday. And we'll have a big week at Watkins Glen. Any final comments from One Shoe there?
Great race by everybody. Looking forward to being in Twindy's backyard. Great state of New York next week as we get back on a regular season. This was a wonderful outing by the group. It shows that this multi-class racing, again, one of the rare instances that we've had to be able to do this. This is going to work. It's going to be successful. And I can't wait till the next time we do it, when I get an opportunity to either be in an LMP2 or a GTE car. What do you think, Carlin?
I think that you're a prime candidate for the GTE class, given your experience in the stock cars. I would say that if you were still on JME, I would put you in the GTE cars. But that's just on me. WKK, what'd you think about tonight's race? You want to sign off for us? Give a last word.
Yeah, it was a good race, good cars. You know, when we tech tested these, it was a little bit of a struggle at first to see what was going on, but I got to thank the guys for coming out tonight. It was a hell of a race. We might have gotten a little sloppy there just a little bit, but now, you know what? I'm going to say this honestly. That was better than about 90% of the Camel GT races this year. So, all sports and wise. So that was really good. We didn't have to go through all the cautions, which again, really nice to see. And you know, this is going to be the formula hopefully for the future. We're probably going to have another one of these at the end of the season, just to get a warm-up, and then middle of next couple weeks, we're planning a European debut. So we'll see how this goes.
All right, guys. Well, this is going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you for joining us tonight. As I said, WKK and Sir Race-A-Lot are class winners tonight at the Daytona Sports Car Challenge. For One Shoe, WKK, and the crew, this is Carlin Hicks, and we are signing off. You guys have a good night.